Be honest, have you ever texted while driving? When's the last time you ate something without any nutritional value whatsoever? Every day we do things despite our better judgment, but when should the government step in to protect us from ourselves? The new book, Why Nudge, explores the balancing act between libertarian ideals and government interference. I'm joined by author Cass Sunstein. He's the founder and director of the Behavioral Economics program at Harvard Law School. Welcome.
Thanks so much.
In your book, you coined the term, I was going to say pragmatic liberalism, but it's libertarian paternalism. Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
I hope not. It comes from some work I've done with an economist named Richard Thaler, who should get the Nobel Prize. And the idea is that often it's possible for a private institution or the government completely to respect freedom of choice, so libertarian, but also to steer people a little bit, hence paternalistic. So one example is the GPS. You can ignore the GPS if you don't like it, but it's kind of paternalistically telling you this is the direction you ought to go.
The GPS doesn't sound completely analogous to government to me. You recognize in the book that government can also make bad choices. You write, no one should deny that government officials can err, and their errors may be especially, even uniquely damaging. Is this not a strong argument against more government regulation, and might it also be one that libertarians and conservatives would use in the political arena?
Yes. So it is true that government can make mistakes, and the whole idea behind nudges or libertarian paternalism is to preserve freedom of choice, so it's not in favor of coercion. It just is the case, though, that so long as we have a social environment, we are going to be nudged. So if there's a website, whatever's listed first is going to attract the eyeballs. If you go into an office, whatever you see first will be getting your attention. If you're in a cafeteria, if the chocolate is first or the vegetable is first, that's going to influence what you're going to do. So the idea there shouldn't be any nudging or there shouldn't be any influences on behavior, that's just not possible so long as people are living in society.
So you're creating a social backdrop where people are taken care of by what would otherwise be common sense in that environment where smart moral choices can be made.
Well, I'd put it a little differently. I think it is true that for government to respect freedom of choice is indispensable in a free society like ours, and so coercion and mandates, we should have a presumption against those. So long as there are influences on behavior, whether the government is creating pension plans for its own employees or whether it's having disclosure policies so people are making informed judgments about their credit cards, those policies should be ones that are noticing how people react to information and that are noticing sometimes people suffer from procrastination and give them a little help, like a GPS.
Professor, you write about public frustration over government regulations, saying when the government tells people that they have to save money or cannot text while driving or have to buckle their seatbelts, it may be making them less happy and possibly frustrated and angry. So are you saying that anger and frustration on moral and or constitutional grounds are trumped by the greater good?
I wouldn't put it quite that way. I'd say that in the case of texting while driving, people are inflicting risks on other people on the highway, and that's a risk that it's justified for government to stop. The seatbelt buckling idea is more controversial, but you save a lot of lives that way, and I think that is justified. So in cases where people are inflicting harms on other people, there's a good argument for government involvement. If people are just inflicting harms on themselves, there's a very strong argument for individual liberty. But if the government can inform people so as to make sure that their choices are knowledgeable rather than ignorant, that's probably a good idea.
This presumably would apply to motorcycle helmets too, which cause traumatic head injuries or death and higher insurance premiums.
Yes, so the motorcycle helmet laws are beyond a nudge. They're not just information, but there are reasonable, at least, arguments for those to prevent harms both to the people who end up getting really hurt and to the rest of us.
I'll have to study more. Professor Sunstein, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.